House Speaker Dustin Burrows promises that the Texas House will deliver on school choice. This is Tuesday, February 11th, 2025.
Texas Scorecard presents the day's first news for the Lone Star State, the Texas Minute, with your host, Michael Quinn Sullivan.
Thanks for spending part of your Tuesday here with the Texas Minute. Revelations that state and federal agencies have been funneling money into left-wing media operations has inspired one lawmaker to take action. More on that coming up. Legislation's been filed by Republican State Representative Brian Harris, Midlothian, to block schools and public libraries in Texas from using taxpayer funds to become members of the American Library Association. His legislation would also block them from attending ALA conferences or otherwise financially supporting the group. At issue has been the rise of pornographic materials in tax-funded libraries. The ALA opposes all attempts to restrict access to library materials, even the pornographic stuff, to readers based on their ages. The Texas State Library and Archives Commission ended its contract with the ALA back in 2023 after the organization elected a self-proclaimed Marxist as its president who said she wanted to create a, quote, socialist vision for public libraries. Two Republican state senators are working to bring the Ten Commandments and prayer into Texas classrooms. Phil King of Weatherford wants to require government schools to display in a, quote, conspicuous place in each classroom a copy of the Ten Commandments where it can be seen by everyone. Meanwhile, Mays Middleton of Galveston has authored legislation that would permit all public and charter school operators to adopt policies that provide students and employees with an opportunity to participate in a period of prayer and reading of the Bible or other religious texts on each school day. Responding to a weekend social media post by President Donald Trump, Texas House Speaker Dustin Burrows has said his chamber will pass school choice. On Saturday, President Trump praised Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, State Senator Brandon Creighton, and the Texas Senate for passing school choice legislation last week. The president noted that the House has repeatedly killed the measure and he would be, quote, watching them closely. Burrows responded with two words, quote, we will. No one doubts that it will take quite the effort. Most of Burrows' support for Speaker came from the House Democrat caucus, which has been vocal against school choice measures. It's worth noting that Mr. Burrows has not yet organized the House into committees. Legislation can't begin moving until that happens. The Senate convenes for business at 11 a.m. today, while the House is set to convene at 2 p.m. The Texas Minute will be right back.
The Luke Macias Show is your access to what happens behind closed doors in Texas politics. Listen weekly to me, your host, Luke Macias, as I break down what is actually happening in conservative politics in the Lone Star State, a state that we all love and cherish. Listen weekly wherever you listen to podcasts. This show is a product of Texas Scorecard.
It was revealed last week that hundreds of millions of federal tax dollars have been funneled into left-wing national and international publications. A Texas Scorecard review of state spending finds state agencies have given $6.7 million to various left-wing news media operations. As a result, legislation's been filed by Republican State Representative Briscoe Cain of Deer Park to prevent state agencies from using public funds to support news organizations in the future. One of Cain's legislative initiatives would prohibit agencies from using appropriated money to advertise in or donate to statewide periodicals or internet news websites that rely on ad revenue or memberships. Another would bar state agencies, including the legislature itself, from purchasing periodicals or financially supporting any news media. He does make exceptions for certain institutions such as libraries and museums, and he would allow legislators to buy a single subscription to to publications in their districts. As an aside, that $6.7 million doesn't include spending by counties, cities, and schools. It's only state spending. And for what it's worth, Texas Scorecard refuses to take any government cash. You can find the details of all the stories mentioned today and keep up with the latest news by visiting TexasScorecard.com. Today's Texas Minute was based on the original reporting of Valerie Munoz, Luca Cacciatore, and Brandon Waltons. This edition was produced by Nick Shepard. If you enjoy the Texas Minute, please give us a rating, and if you have time, leave a review. This is the easiest way to help others find the show. I look forward to seeing you out around the Lone Star State. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the first news of the day for the Lone Star State. This has been the Texas Minute with your host, Michael Quinn Sullivan.